Hey, this is IndigoMusic.com. I'm Rohit, and it's a very special day because I've got a very special guest, not just a guest, but guests with me. I've got the members of the one and only, the famous, the Rex Rosario Quintet with me. Welcome, guys, to IndigoMusic.com.
Thank you, Rohan, for having us over. Yeah, glad to be here.
And of course, we've got the legendary Mr. Rosario, Rex Rosario, with us. Sir, first of all, good morning. How's your day looking? Fantastic, sir. You've when you look back on a lifetime which is shaped by music, you're playing alongside your father's band as a young boy, to now leading the renowned Rex Rosario Quintet. What does this incredible journey mean to you?
Really incredible. After so many years, I'm still in the field. And, the beginning was not so good. I was quite young and I had to face a lot of difficulties. And my father's influence was so great, I could not give up music. And I kept struggling to be what I am here today. And, his influence was so great that I had to stick up to that. It paid off well. So many things I can talk about my life, young days, mm, especially about my father, who was a great musician, trumpet player. He started his career when he was 20, playing in the best band. It's called the Elite. He
Hmm.
was a new trumpeter. This band performed, the only Indian band that performed at Taj Hotel. And he did, there was a good tap dancer too. The same team went to Rangoon, Burma. It's a hotel called Singapore. He performed there also. And after that, he came and settled down in India for the rest of his life. Also, he was a freelance trumpet player in all the studios in South, like KVM, Jupiter, Gemini, and the Akshara studio in Coimbatore, and all these places. And he also was part of HMV, his master's was recording studio. They used to produce records. So those vinyls, which long plays. So my influence in jazz was my father and all the music, the long plays that we had. Those days we didn't have these latest gadgets to, and also there's so much available on the internet, YouTube. So there's access to a lot of listening.
Yeah. This is the band. So basically, this is now the amalgamation of, I'm guessing, three generations. All,
Yeah, of course.
if you look at it, three different generations. So tell me, let's talk to the youngest person. Uh, yeah, because jazz is not something that it's a, I would say it's an acquired taste when it comes to music. Jazz is something that people really want to, when just listen to it, have fun. It's always a happy this thing. So tell me, how did you get into jazz, and how has it been since when you got into the band?
Hi, Rohit. First of all, it's great to be on Indigo.
Okay.
And it's a great privilege to be a part of the band as well as being the most important thing is to be a grandson of my grandparents.
Right, right.
So I'm John and I play the drums for the band. So
Okay.
my influence is very, I
So
think,
you're the cool guy because every drummer is the most coolest guy in any band.
so yeah, so the music influence came, as you know, it's very you can guess that it's because of my grandfather. So
Yes.
growing up, I used to listen to a lot of jazz at home, and mostly spend time with my grandparents. So
Right.
that's what I started to like, and also when they used to like practice at home, and I used to be fascinated listening to jazz. So I think it's just a part of the culture at home, and that's where I started, learning drums, and it was only through my grandfather's influence and his guidance is what I.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Raza, I want to ask you, where have you seen jazz, and how has it grown over, the years that you've been in the music industry?
That is over the years. Yeah, there was not many bands that we had earlier, and it's still going the same way. So many other bands that came up very well, and they are doing well. But in the jazz field, there's hardly any two, three bands only of doing, I mean, continuing their. I don't know what is the reason for that. Maybe that the genres are taking over, like rock, metal, and all that.
Yeah.
So the youngsters like all that jumping. So jazz is a little bit, it's got its own
Yeah.
powerful beats, but it's not appealing to the present crowd. Even to earlier crowd also it was there. The time that rock and roll came, everything went a different pace.
Yes. Now, I also want to talk to the other band members. So, when it comes to jazz, according to you, where do you see that going in the near future?
I think we're at a pretty decent space right now.
Okay.
A lot of youngsters, according to me, are actually kind of tuning into, listening to more of jazz. The thing about jazz is it's difficult to appreciate. The music form in itself is pretty complex, and it's not something that's easy listening, right?
Yeah.
So it takes a bit of deciphering, and it takes a bit of sort of it's. But at the end of it, if you realize that it's an expression, I think a lot of youngsters are actually understanding that, and are also able to spend time in sort of analyzing that. Therefore, I think there's a lot more appreciation towards jazz. And I think the future looks much better than what it was, thanks to, again, big thanks to the pioneers who are ahead of us. It's because of them that we have it easy. Also, thanks to technology that's made it available just about everywhere and anywhere. And
Yeah.
so I think there's a lot of youngsters that are yearning to learn the art of jazz and what goes with it. So I think now this generation, I think, is waking up to this art of jazz. And I think we are progressing, but not at the pace which we should be.
So for me, it's like it's always been like rightly like what he said. It's about freedom. Jazz is all about freedom and the way you express, and it is like an adrenal rush. So we don't know what's coming next, but unless and until you have a good ears, what you're listening, like especially like I call Uncle Rex.
Yeah.
When he plays, like we also try to understand like uh, from where he learned jazz and how his ears are tuned. Maybe the modern jazz also takes you back to these standards. That's where we all. I think everybody should grow up, by listening to standard. Then eventually, like come to a point where
Yeah.
you feel very comfortable in expressing.
Right.
And I think like this generation is. I mean, I would say like Gen Z, like trying to catch up with the jazz standards and yeah, the technology, the kind of equipments, it's all been upgraded. So I think there's going to be some kind of a change and some difference that we're going to make.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think yeah, a lot of people are getting into the lot of genres that people didn't know back in the day, especially in the early 2000s to I would say 2010, because the internet was just in, and a lot of people, and that was the time when the like he was mentioning about rock and hip hop coming into the entire pop culture. So jazz kind of took a backseat, but now it is again gaining prominence in a city like Bengaluru, at least, if I have to say. But before I let Mr. Rosario, before I let you go, at the age of 80, you're still practicing saxophone every single day. Now, what advice would you like to give to those who are struggling to stay dedicated to their arts or any craft, for that matter?
See, jazz is not just a word that, fancy word like jazz. You have to know a lot of things about jazz. It's quite complicated. And you have to know for any kind of music all the rudiments.
Right.
And especially in jazz, you should know how to transcribe. That means you have to learn how to read and write and listen and write.
Hmm.
That's called transcribe.
Okay.
So all that doesn't come overnight. You have to struggle, put in a lot of hours of practice. You see, wood shedding or whatever you call it. So therefore, I would advise the youngsters to know the basics very well.
Right.
And now they are trying to do some, they say fusion jazz now. That is all just a pass. Okay? Because you have to know both the fields very well. If you
Yeah.
want to do fusion music, you have to know jazz very well, you have to know this Hindustani or whatever classic music, you have to know very well. So you can infuse them. So I would advise children or youngsters to learn the basic things properly, then
Hmm.
apply it to your later styles. You choose whatever style. Any style you want to play, you have to know the basics, fundamentals, scales, chords, everything you should know. Only then you can attempt to learn some other kind of style of music or genres or whatever. Okay, that's my opinion and that's my advice.
I think, yeah, learn the basics and put in a lot of hard work and practice. I think that makes everything possible in any field. I think that that should apply. Mr. Rosario, thank you so much, and guys, thank you so much for connecting. It's great talking to you, and sir, thank you so much for all the music that you've been giving us, and hope to see another decade of you playing saxophone and just making people happy with your music. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you,
Thank
Robert.
you.
Thank you very
You
much.
too.
Thank you.